What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? I'm having a pretty crappy day. No, that's a lie. It's not. It's just been a hectic day. So yeah, it's technically my last day in America for hopefully just a week or 2 weeks. If I don't get thrown in jail for some reason or get stabbed by El Chapo or whatever. But but yeah, going into the first leg of treatment, which is looking like it may be a little more complicated than I initially thought. Or well, not. So yeah, not complicated per se, but it's okay. So initially, I told you guys, I'm supposed to be switching to morphine for a couple months to make the withdrawal period of the more manageable. And now they're telling me that I guess because it can be, people coming off methadone can have such a high tolerance and need so much morphine that may be problematic getting all of that to America. So the other suggestion they have is that, they may do this thing where they put me under, which it kind of freaked me out a little bit because I know it's like they have these program or these things where they sedation detox, where they put you under, and then from what I've heard, they pump you full of naltrexone, which is like Antabuse, which is essentially an anti-opiate, anti-alcohol medicine, but it pushes the withdrawal out of you. So, but there's one video I watched. This guy wakes up during the middle of it and finds himself in a bathtub, like shit, uncontrollably shitting. And just sounds like it's they're putting your body through a lot while you're out, but I don't know, it kind of freaked me out. But they said this time with this program they don't use naltrexone, and that I still get to do the ibogaine several times at the end. So I need to decide whether or not it's a good idea. If any of you guys have any experience with this, or have any advice, you feel free to leave it in the comment selection below. Comment section. I'm still waking up today. Sorry, guys. But anyways, today, it being so close to me about to have some new beginnings in my life, I wanted to talk about some of the experience, like near-death, close call, just some of the frightening experiences I've had that have put me where I am today. Have kind of had an effect on my spiritual journey because I question how I survived a lot of these things and why I'm still here, which I've talked to you guys a little bit about before. But a lot of that has had an effect on how I see things and my experience with everything, it definitely makes you think a lot about existence and so forth. Anyways, I'll start with something that happened when I was very young. This is when I was a baby. I'm probably not even 2 years old. I was helping my grandmother fold. I wanted to help her because she was staying at my parents' house at the time, and I wanted to help. She was staying on the fold-out couch in the basement. I wanted to help her put it away, but I didn't see her, or she didn't see me there. So she ended up closing my left ring finger into the sofa, which was basically hanging off by a thread, which I had to go to the hospital and get sewed back on. My dad fainted in the hospital, like waiting while this happened. It's a side note. But fortunately, they were able to sew it back on, and I can still, now I can, still use it for all shredding purposes. And whatever other kind of purposes, but anyways, so that even though I don't remember it that well, it probably had some sort of traumatic experience on my brain. Another thing that happened when I was young, this was kind of a close call type scenario that I don't even really, I didn't know about at all until it was over with, but just kind of a weird situation where in elementary school I was at lunch, and somebody comes from school. They bring me into the office, and I don't know what's going on. To talk to my mom on the phone, who seems just very relieved to talk to me. But basically, I guess what happened. and she assumes it's some coworker, I guess, that she maybe had to fire that was upset. But somebody had like called into my mom saying that I had like had some horrible accident at school and like, was going to the hospital or whatever. I mean, they put me on the phone, and it turns out I was, I think my mom was surprised to hear me on the other side of the line, but who knows? I mean, I don't know what they even expected to gain out of that, but yeah, I guess maybe to just try and upset my parents or my mom for a short amount of time. Clearly, she was going to find out it wasn't true, unless this crazy lady maybe was planning something, that didn't come to fruition. Who knows? Anyways, so another thing which surprisingly I dealt with a lot of without even knowing. But so at around 18, I had meningitis, spinal meningitis, and pneumonia, which was, pretty crappy. Like when pneumonia, I had like the worst cough of my life, and I'm like coughing up phlegm, sometimes blood. I remember getting a blowjob during that period, and I mean, a lot of it was pretty uncomfortable because I had to go in, and I think I may have told this story, but it's one of the embarrassing things I had to do younger on in life. Call everybody in my class, everybody that I had smoked weed with, anybody that I had done anything with, possibly, to have to take this pill so that they wouldn't get it. And I had to call these people at my school. I was pretty nervous about it, but I ended up just getting overwhelming support, and it was nothing. The whole thing, it was, but it showed me how appreciative, or how nice people can be, and how I've some good friends. My friends came by and saw me in the hospital. They had told people that I had died and made these big shirts that said like "Rest in Peace, Matt Mursky" or something, and it had during my brief rap career, I can make a video about that sometime, but the video of me with like a baller jacket with a puffy hoodie sipping champagne, and it was like tall, they made tall t-shirts, so like "Rest in Peace," and some people actually believed it, but I don't know, I thought that was pretty funny. Some people may not have, but I cracked up when they came and visited me and told me that. Well, moving along, I've got a bunch here. This may not even be all of them. Some of these experiences I probably shouldn't even speak about. But who knows? Maybe someday if I have a Patreon or something. But not for now. Let's move along through as much as we can. Looks like we got about 8 minutes here. Okay, so this was a young time. I don't think counts as really a near-death experience, but a time that I'd gotten blackout drunk at a party, and with some of my acquaintances, kind of, and I fell face first, and just like bloody disaster. This kid gave me a ride home with my friend. I'm trying hard not to bleed on his car and get all the blood on myself, but I managed to get home. I was fine after that. The most serious one would probably be the time that I overdosed. That was the time I was really closest to death, I believe. It was, after I had gone through my last Ibogaine treatment, and, I'd gotten this stomach bug in Mexico. When I came back, I was gone to the hospital for that, and so they gave me painkillers, at the hospital to deal with that, and that kind of was the beginning of my relapse. But yeah, I didn't know my tolerance. I didn't think about the fact how, my tolerance had gotten so high, especially after being on 175 milligrams of methadone. And after the Ibogaine treatment, I'm back to nothing. I didn't really think about that. I did a huge amount of heroin, and then I was supposed to go to see my therapist. And so a taxi was waiting at my friend's house. I start going up his stairs, and then I just go blackout. And then the next thing I know, I'm on the side of the road. It's raining. Apparently, this taxi driver wouldn't pick me up. And I kept telling my friend, I'm fine, just leave me alone. And he's like, I'm not going to leave until, you either call an ambulance or, call your parents. So eventually, he convinced me to call my parents. My parents came. By that time, I'm, starting to turn blue. They take me right to the hospital, and that was pretty scary for my parents. Which I still feel terrible about the fact that and I didn't even really realize how bad this was. I'm just telling my parents like, let me chill, leave me alone, and they're just trying to keep me awake so that I don't like lose consciousness. But I got to the hospital. They quickly put Narcan in like both my arms. It gave me kind of a shock. I still felt high, the next day and a half later. But they said that had I not gotten to the hospital about 5 minutes later, I certainly would have been dead. So that one was serious. Another one, or a couple times, have come close to drowning. And it's not that I don't know how to swim. I've just done, put myself in some stupid scenarios. Usually, mostly on the Potomac River, which is, river that we, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. You definitely know the Potomac River, but it's what basically goes through all the way through the region. Since high school, there was a spot that we used to go called the rope swing, where there used to be this swing that would swing out into the into the river. That since has been cut down, but frequently we would swim out to the middle of the river. There are these rocks, kind of like rapid type areas out there. Several times, I've had trouble out there. The first time we went, it was really stupid. It was in the middle of the night, and the rapids were pretty high. I don't think we realized how bad the situation was because we were all like wasted. We realized we're all stuck out there on these, like me and a bunch of my friends, out on these rocks. And it feels like chess. We're kind of trying to navigate pulling ourselves out. And I don't remember that clearly this time, but we managed to pull ourselves out. Another time, I was tripping on acid with my friend. This whole story is actually pretty funny. Maybe that for another video. But part of it, we're trying to trek from those middle rocks out to this island that's a little bit further out. And like it gets pretty serious, and I'm at the point where I'm like slipping off of one of these rapids, like almost pulling away. And I have a bottle of whiskey, and my friend is like, "Give me your hand," and I'm like, "I can't," like, because I don't want to waste this whole bottle of whiskey. It may not be totally full, and the reason I'm saying that is so you guys don't feel bad once I tell you like what I did next. I'm in the situation where I realize it's either I'm gonna get washed away or I have to drop this bottle. So I end up dropping the bottle, and in a second, it's like gone. But I grabbed my friend's hand, and he pulled me up. But that wasn't as bad as the time. Well, there's actually were two more times, and one time we were trying to swim out to that island again, and I miscalculated, I guess, how fast the stream was pulling down because you have to swim out past. Where the rapids or like goes in this steep kind of like little tiny like waterfall thing that'll suck you down, like I guess basically like a rapid vortex type thing. But so I'm swimming, I'm trying to go as far down as I can, and I'm seeing I can't really go faster than this current, and I see this suction thing coming, and whoop, get sucked into it. My friend who was with me said he thought that was the end of me there. But somehow I managed to pull out, and we actually, I think, did get across to the island. But the most frightening time for me, even though we didn't actually quite get caught in the rapids, and this is the time that made me decide that I don't think we should do this anymore. But so we swam out to the middle. The tide was really high this time. This time I was with my girlfriend. We realized, like in the middle, there's usually this strip of land that you can take a break on before going further out. We get out there and we realize the tide is so high that land is long gone under us, and there's just water that's going to be pouring back into this same fucking vortex and rapids. So we start swimming back as fast as we can because there's even more stream rapids before the island. Just stream rapids from a lot of these places. It is stupid that so many drunk teenagers fuck around here. But my girlfriend, having asthma, started having trouble breathing as we were swimming back. So I told her, I was like, just try as hard as you can, get as far as you can so that we can make sure I had the energy to pull you back. So we worked it well, and I managed to, when she didn't have any more energy, I pulled her back and swam. And it was scary, because we're losing land quickly, but, managed to get to it. Well, we only have about 15 seconds left, so once again, you guys are going to have to wait for next time for some more of these. But yeah, I think those were the most serious ones. But stay safe out there. Peace.